Childhood was a time of natural sublimity. You looked at the world in a way that was incredibly powerful. You were so open. You weren't so verbal. You weren't thinking always in your head of words and ideas. You weren't kind of spoiled with all of these influences from the outside. The world was strange. So people are a little bit curious about the book that I'm writing right now, The Law of the Sublime, the title of which might end up changing. They're also wondering why it's taking me so bloody long, and that's a whole other story. What I'm trying to do in the book is make you look at the world through a different lens. So sometimes it's not necessarily what you do that matters, but how you look at things. And to sort of reevaluate the world around you and to see it in a different light, to me, is a very powerful thing to do. And that is kind of the essence of the sublime. And one of the chapters I have in there is about childhood. Now, I've read a lot of material and books about the sublime, and they tend to be these very academic, boring books about art, etc., that I don't understand, because the book itself must be sublime. I have a chapter on childhood, which nobody in all of these books I've read ever discusses. And my idea is that childhood was a time of natural sublimity. You looked at the world in a way that was incredibly powerful. You were so open. You weren't so verbal. You weren't thinking always in your head of words and ideas. You weren't kind of spoiled with all of these influences from the outside. The world was strange, right? And so I write about that, and I write about people who had childhoods like that. The problem is that as we get older, we lose that sense. And then when we look back on our childhood, we don't remember that we had these experiences. We had these ways of looking that were so strange. It was almost like we were on drugs continually. And because we don't remember, we banalize our childhood we have these kind of memories of parties and people who said things. We don't remember the actual experience of our childhood. So the other day, just to give you an example, I meditate every morning. And sometimes at the end of it, I look up and I look at because you're not supposed to look at anything when you meditate. I look at a blank wall. I look up and I see this wall of ivy on the other side of the window. I'm looking at it and I'm going, that is really strange. That is really weird to see this kind of these big green, bright, the sun was shining, they're very bright. They're almost incandescent. We live on this very weird planet where there are things like ivy or even grass, I don't know. When you were a child, you had those thoughts all of the time, right? Things shocked you because you were seeing things for the first time. That day afterwards, when I was riding my bicycle up in the park, I'm trying to see the world through the lens again. Like how strange it is. There are trees. Trees are very strange phenomena if you think about them. These big, thick things emerging out of the ground that don't have necessarily a brain, though they do have senses. You know, weird forms of life, other things that I'm seeing. That's how a child looked at the world. If you can recapture that, then the world that you were experiencing every day becomes a sublime experience. That's what I'm trying to do in this book. I'm trying to change how you see things from the inside out. So you don't have to be exploring outer space like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. You don't have to go some far corner of the planet to have an out-of-body experience. You can have it every single goddamn moment of your life if you simply shift the way you look at things. That's the purpose of it and my goal and what I'm trying to accomplish.